Good evening. Welcome back. Hope you've all had a wonderful day. Today we'll be resuming Oblivion once more. I'm definitely enjoying getting back into the groove playing some Elder Scrolls games. If you're enjoying the content that you've been seeing, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to see more Elder Scrolls games on this channel, please let me know. I've made the grace of skipping the initial loading screens and the music that would be blaring into your ears. So, we should be immediately ready to resume the groove. Still with the magnificent red hair I had before. Let's hide that for the moment. We don't want to arouse suspicion. Where we last left off, we finished with the suspicious merchant activities going on in the Imperial City. It's at this point that we do have a bit more of a freedom as to what problem we will be approaching next. We also handled our initiation into the Mages Guild through Skingrad, and I have received my ever so important lightning spells. After all, what mad scientist am I if I'm not throwing lightning bolts at things I don't like? I also happen to have a very talkative cat. What villain wouldn't? If I want to go for the complete Bond look, shouldn't I have him in my lap? Let me fix that. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond. Very well. Why don't we check what quests we have available and see if there's anything missing? Grey Prince. Wine. Joining the Mages Guild. Nothing too important to immediate near us. I think I will continue to wait a bit more until we resume any arena quests. For now, perhaps we should continue our journey through the Mages Guild.
What can I do for you?
To think this was the height of what games could provide at that time. 2006, and you have, what? 10, 12 fully fledged NPCs walking around at a time?
Greetings to you.
It's also a bit too late for us to be doing an arena quest right now as well. Oh, not quite. We have a short window of time here. You know what, why not? Let's see if we can get ourselves a good sparring match before we continue.
What is it, citizen?
It's always lovely to start off a playthrough session with a nice, heated battle. Curious that it starts playing the dungeon music when you step down here. I don't know if they just have a generic list of cave tracks.
Fight itself, you lazy pit dog. You ready for a match or what?
Oh wait, I'm not falling into that pitfall again. I need to have my armor equipped.
Better move on.
Which, actually, they might have a better condition one in here. Let me swap that out. This chest refreshes ever so often. Please ignore that sight.
The yellow team ain't gonna fight itself. You must be downright determined to get yourself killed, huh? Okay then, head back up to the arena and try not to die before the gate opens.
This time we would be coming prepared. We have a lightning bolt. This should be a slam dunk for us. I hope the opponent isn't equipped with anything too lethal against us.
Welcome to the arena. Are you ready for a bloodbath? The winner of this match will advance in rank, so the stakes are high. Pit dogs, show us what you're made of.
What a classic. Ah, he's armed with a bow. He shouldn't be that much of a problem for us. Especially if we have our Skelly boy here to take damage for us. I suppose being a spellcaster in the arena is somewhat less effective, given that they only give you options for armor. So why not take the fight to him? My game appears to be lagging. Perhaps it hasn't loaded all the sound effects yet. The cold spell they start you off with is actually surprisingly strong. Come on. Ah, he still hit me. No matter.
We have a winner! All hail the combatant from the blue team! Victor from the blue team, leave the arena now and rest. You earned it.
It's still playing the dungeon music while we're in here. I wonder how they pick their selection of music tracks. If it's just automatically selected, depending on if you're in an interior hostile cell or otherwise.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're no longer a pit dog. That's right. You've actually advanced in rank. Congratulations, brawler.
Our name is no longer derogatory. I can appreciate that. They don't have any better weapons for us to steal, I'm afraid. Ah yeah, that reminds me. They have a pig. And a lot of bones in that cage, which gives us some unfortunate implications as to what happens to our fellow arena goers. While no one is looking. Let's see if we can get ourselves a government grant, if you know what I'm saying. A sponsorship, if you will. A hearty donation. Some scientific funding. Very important research grants. All of the above. Let's try that again. With more patience this time, I'm afraid. Hello, and welcome to the stream. We are currently attempting to procure ourselves some delicious bits of gold. I can understand why some people would have had disdain for this minigame. I have personally always appreciated it. There's another game, I forget what it was called. Two Worlds 2, I believe. That had another interesting lockpicking minigame. Somewhat of a hybridization between the one you find in Oblivion here and the one you find in Fallout and all the later games. We might run out of lockpicks on this one. These problems you should approach with patience. And a very observant and focused eye. Usually you want to wait until you see the slow one go up. The timing on these little notches is actually variable, which is why you can't just use a standard set of timing and click your way in like that. We'll give it a few more tries. Every little success we have will raise our skill, though. And there is one important reason why I am electing us to head south afterwards. There we go. Almost there. Ah, that was the one. That was also the one. That is definitely worth the expense. 500 is a lot for an early game character. I think that just about doubled my funds, even. Indeed. Welcome to the stream, relax. We will be making our way south towards Breville. I think we can do ourselves a nice round-robin trip across the entire map. So sit down and relax, because we're going on a road trip. Possibly even a swim. Scratch that. Very definitely a swim. I'm not making my way all the way out west just to go across a bridge. You know, it would be appropriate for us if we had a water walking spell. But it will be a while before we end up in Shadenhall, which is where they sell the most alteration spells. Every single city in this game actually has a school of magic that it focuses on. We went to Skingrad first yesterday because that one focuses on destruction. Next we would be heading to Breville, which has an illusion focus. From there we might be able to actually procure a few useful utility spells. Maybe a better light spell. Charm will also be useful, and our level might not be high enough for a good chameleon spell yet, but we will look. Nothing to be found. I swear the combat music is still playing. And I'm probably still wearing my arena clothes. I have no idea why this game seems to be stuttering. This is a game from 2006, I should be having absolutely zero issues with it. Just like I'll be having zero issues with these goblins. Beautiful. I always love the initial ragdoll physics you find in this game. These enemies will shiver and shake, flying up into the air as you strike them off with the finishing bolt. The crabs, not so much. They're a bit more difficult for the game to animate. Horses fading into the distance. These are wild horses, I believe. Are we even capable of catching up to them? It seems not. It is far too early in the game. If you do max out your speed to 100, you can actually run faster than most horses in the game, on foot. Which is an extraordinary feat of athleticism. Hello there, welcome to the stream. We are currently making our way towards Breville. And possibly dealing with a few bandits along the way. That spell will be so useful for the time that we have here. You know what? While we're at it, since we are heading to a new city soon, we might be able to find some useful things in here to sell. Or to use ourselves. Come here. Yoink. Damn. There we go. That is an iron claymore. We are looking for steel-tiered weapons or better. There might be a few on the boss, but given that we are only level 2, the game will not give us anything more important. It's always lovely to pass into whatever fort you may come across. You're going to Breville. Yes, I am most certainly going to Breville. Which, like the real-life country of Brazil, also happens to be full of dirt and suffering. I think my game has frozen. So soon. We just began streaming. Nope. It was just taking forever. Ah, that worries me. I'll have to save much more frequently. You know, it might end up hurting our eyes, but I should probably land myself a night eye spell to not give myself away while sneaking. You wouldn't mind if, between now and the next episode, I installed something that would make Night Eye a bit more approachable, correct?
Huh? Where did you go? Come out!
Simple. Especially so early in the game, while we're much more capable of sneaking. Let's go ahead and put on the armor. I think it would be useful for us to level our light armor skill so that we can have the payoff much sooner. As you level up that skill, your spell effectiveness will also go up. I don't want to attack the dog for the moment, if we can get away without it. Something interesting is that NPCs will take off any armor-designated items when they go to sleep, which will make this much easier. I don't think you get any bonus sneak experience from pickpocketing in this game. They gave it its own skill in Skyrim. But honestly, I never played much of stealth characters in Skyrim either.
I'm going to bleed you slow.
As simple as it is, I actually kind of like Oblivion's combat. It just gets the job done. Not too many bizarre, fancy mechanics. The little power attacks you get from leveling up definitely give it a little bit more of an edge. See right here, we have a pressure plate. Well, one of you will be doing all the work today, it seems. There we go. I appreciate how much they like to use the physics engine in such an early game. Right when they were just coming out. What's this? We have Havoc. Make as much use of it as you can. Argonians, it's easy to tell if they're facing away because of their tails, same with Khajiits. Knowing his AI, he's liable to turn around any second now, and we must. And we must prevent that. Oh, the comedic timing on that could not be better. He's right on top of me, but I can't see him. Yep, the instant I moved. Let's give him a good old skelly boy to deal with. Simple enough. The repair hammers will be important. Ooh. A steel claymore. I like it. We won't be able to use it alongside our shield, but... Yeah. The AI is blind to doors swinging wide open, but the instant I wiggle slightly in the darkness, I am seen. A shame those last for such little time. You do get sort of a perk every time you reach another 25 levels in a skill. Similar to the perks in Skyrim. I believe that's where they got the inspiration from it. Or rather, that started in Fallout, so... it's just a slow evolution of new abilities that you would acquire. One thing that's interesting is that, for the most part, fortifying your skills will not grant you any bonus effects past, say, if you leveled up something to 25 or to 50. You won't be given that special bonus effect until you actually get the skill up there. There are a few differences, though. For one, If you get armor up to level 100 through fortification, you actually will not use any durability on your repair hammers. And so, you can just carry around a single repair hammer with you, and if you have a fortify armor 100 points for 1 second on you, you'll be able to repair things indefinitely. That does still give you a reason to level up your repair skill naturally, because it's only once your armor is up to above level 50 that you can start upgrading enchanted items. But if we're wanting to cheese, and let me know exactly how much cheese you want in Oblivion, we could make ourselves one of those spells. I'll have to see what sort of damage bonus we get on the Steel Claymore. I don't think it's going to be nearly as much as what we'd get out of a one-handed weapon. But having this equipped essentially nullifies our shield, and we do get slightly better spell effectiveness. Oh, goodness. The lower level chests even have slower keys that you have to deal with. The timing on that will also be throwing me off.
Watch out!
Oh, that was quick. Remarkably quick. Oh, I meant to use my cold spell, not my calm spell. But while we're here... We'll take any way to handle our solutions to our problems. Big ol' smack sound when you hit him. Given that restoration will be used mostly out of combat, it's good that we did not set it to one of our major skills. We don't want it leveling us up now. Really? Is this the end already? Seems there was not much going on in here. I suppose this would be the supposed loot chest room, then. A battered crate with a hard level lock. There might be something useful in here. The fact that it's signified as battered might mean something significant. Normally it would just be a crate, would it not? Even the harder locks are easier to pick. Should I... Don't tell anyone. For those of you not particularly familiar with the Elder Scrolls universe, skooma is an illicit drug. In most places. I don't think it's illicit in the home province of elsewhere. Ah, we're not done with this fort yet. There's plenty of other room for us to explore. Let's see if we can get that claymore attacking bonus. Now that tripwire I did not see. I'm surprised that didn't actually alert him. You would think it would. Oh, heavens.
Watch out! Oh.
Here, watch me loot your friend real quick. And all the chests around you. We'll make good use of those. We'll make good use of this. And we'll make no use of you. That's a little sadistic, isn't it? Casting a calm spell on someone before just destroying them right then and there. It seems that it was actually the end of our journey in here. I really didn't want to do that. Now that we had no one else to deal with, we could afford to use a light spell. Calm, fear, and command spells in this game depend on the level of the target that you're using them on, not measuring against intelligence or willpower or any of the stats. In fact, if you look in the guide right here, it says that might have actually been taken out by the unofficial patch that I have installed. I know in Morrowind and possibly in Vanilla Oblivion, willpower explicitly said it determines your ability to resist magic, but it never actually had any of those effects in these games. While they still had those stats, it would have been nice for those to influence how someone was affected by illusion spells. But no, we're left with them solely dependent on the level of whoever you're targeting. Given that you have reduced spell effectiveness while wearing armor, there is a sort of soft level cap at level 25, where leveling up your illusion spells for fear, charm, or command will actually not make them any stronger. But they do they do work on characters leveled past that point. Say, if you were level 30 and had a level 25 command spell, you could use it on a level 30 enemy, and it would still affect them. However, it stops working the instant you have any armor equipped, because any bit of spell effectiveness reduction reduces the level of your spell below 25. Another Daedric shrine we've happened across. Hircine, but he will not accept us for his quest yet. The whole tangent is, if we would like to continue our charming someone into non-violence and then swinging a sword at them, it becomes obsolete after level 25. So long as we continue wearing armor. It also becomes more difficult given that characters will slowly outlevel their health way past the damage I'd be able to do. Let me see this. What's Tiber Septim's bonus? Strength. I can appreciate it. For all the looting we said we were going to do, we didn't do much looting. Let's take the moment and brew ourselves a couple of potions. Nothing for Fortify Magicka, unfortunately. That's what I like to see. A few of those should make our attacks much more lethal. And we will eventually land that two-handed stealth kill. That is the squeak of a rat, I recognize. Easy enough. I don't think we had all of our slots bound yet, did we? Let's go for Repair Hammer on 6. Should we find any more? I'm glad they did away with the equipment maintenance in future games, but it does bring a little bit of a charm. It has more of a use in survival games like Minecraft, where you have a limited set of resources to deal with. Encourages out you to go out and collect more, where in adventure games where the focus is more on character development and the combat itself, I see it more as busy work. I was hoping we didn't accidentally pass Breville, but it seems we are back on the right track. For 2006, this is an extremely beautiful game. I don't think Redguards have any innate weakness to magic, but it seems every Redguard enemy I've ever come across is extremely weak to lightning bolts. Funny, we have a race that has a fire resistance and one that has a frost resistance, but no race carries a shock resistance. At least not past Morrowind. If I remember correctly, earlier games did have Nords also given a shock resistance for some indescribable reason. The frost resistance actually makes sense. I mean, they are from Skyrim up north, where it's cold all the time. Dark elves like myself are from Vardenfell, or the larger province of Morrowind. Volcanic as it is, you'd expect them to be resistant to fire, but what exactly would a land of lightning look like? And its people who would be compelled to resist lightning. Perhaps the least common of those natural elements you'd be able to find. While we are here adjacent to the Nibben Bay, I must regret to inform you that it will probably be a while before we enter the Shivering Isles. I would like to save that content for late game where it is intended to be. Otherwise, we can handle as many guild quests as we like. For the sake of keeping the pacing somewhat reasonable, I'm going to let an accidental murder happen upon me. I'm not going to go out and murder just some random person to immediately start the Dark Brotherhood questlines.
Let's hear it.
Spoiler, that's how you begin the Assassin's Guild questline. Pick some random goon and murder them. Also of note is that there's only like 2 or 3 Fighters guilds that actually have anything useful or interesting happening in them. Every Mages Guild gives you a reason to go in, but Fighters Guilds not so much. I would have preferred they both had a similar presentation. I definitely appreciate more of what the Mages Guild does for you.
Greetings, guildmate. Hello there, associate. You're here for a recommendation, I presume. Are you prepared to earn it?
You speak to so many Argodians in this
I'm
questline.
afraid I haven't had time to prepare anything conventional. I'm very preoccupied with this situation concerning Ardaline. Perhaps you can help with that, however. I can't directly get involved for fear of embarrassing the poor girl. I'll need you to have a little chat with Varen Vamori, and you can learn something about the power of illusion in the process.
See, there's our designation. This is the Illusion Guild.
I don't understand it. Some ridiculous male thing, I suppose.
Hey,
He's been bothering Ardaline every day for a while now.
I
He
resemble
even
that
stole
remark.
her mage's staff. Perhaps he
Now
thinks
that
it's
is serious
amusing.
business.
I don't know. But it needs to stop. It's making her miserable. It's more symbolic than practical, but each carries great significance to its owner. You're going to get Artaline's staff back.
I mean,
Take
I
this
certainly would be
charge,
upset
sir.
if someone
We
stole
think
something
you
from
should
me.
find Varon more receptive to questioning. Don't come back without that staff.
So, for our
Hands
little
over that staff.
illusion quest here, we gotta go convince someone to cough up some information for us.
It's all over, lawbreaker. Your spree is at an end.
What did I do? What am I under arrest for?
That's too bad. I was hoping you'd resist arrest.
For a measly sum of 5
Here's
gold,
the
we're not
procedure.
particularly
We
concerned
go to
with
the castle.
losing it.
First, we search you, confiscate any stolen goods.
I'll give you
Then
a hint.
Pay your fine, and we
It's the skooma. Just having it in your inventory is an illegal offense. Oh? Or maybe that wasn't it. It was 5 gold for that horse that I stole. Likely. Possibly? You would think a guard would have stopped me much earlier.
Well met. Sir? Farewell.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was about. Stopped by random guard for no reason.
How can I help you?
Good old lucky old lady statue. Always stop by that. It will give you a boost to your luck. I'm not sure what all luck affects in this game. Certainly any chance-based dice rolls, but exactly how many luck-based dice rolls are we getting? It's 8 a.m. People should be available to chat. That's when everyone's daily routine begins in Oblivion. I do appreciate the multi-leveled floor design of this city. Even if it does look rather unpleasant with the fact that it's all so many poor shacks. It's definitely fun having a second floor on just about every single house here. There's also a place that's explicitly labeled as a skooma den.
Hey, that's me you're talking to. Reister the Rotted. Hear me? Reister. Wow! I got this amazing itch right on my thigh. Can't touch it. It's rough.
I could scratch it for you. Unless it's on the inside of your thigh.
Been here, right here all day. Last night too. I wasn't there. Not there at all. I can totally prove it. Ask anyone.
You're ugly.
Make it quick.
But are you sociable?
You think that's
Just
fun?
because I
What?
enjoy wasting
Yeah,
my time.
Not now, not later, not now. That's just not funny. Don't. Well, that whatever you want. That's don't. Remarkable. Don't, please. Really? You think I don't talk such rot? That's I don't. Yeah. What a great story. That works for me.
That did score us a level up.
Speak while this.
Hello, I'm Roxanne Bridget. I help the boy.
I don't think there's anyone I could just explicitly sell the skooma to in here, unfortunately. I don't think most merchants would buy it, either. Ooh. There's just a random chest up here. I'll take that measly amount of gold you have to offer me. There's the man we're looking for. The man of the hour, Varen Vamori.
Yes, I sort of know her. Well, I mean, I don't really know her, but I've talked to her some.
You see, the topic is still yellow, so that means he has more information to give us.
Yes?
So long as he likes us a bit more. Now, you're supposed to use
Not
those
now.
scrolls on
That
this
never-
on this
not
quest,
that.
but
No more.
if I
You're
could keep
frightening
them
me.
and sell them later.
That no more. Not bad. What nonsense. Don't. Yeah, I get it. Don't, please. Not bad. Not now. All right, I get it.
Does he have anything else to say to us?
Yes,
Ah, unfortunately not. There is a cap on how much he will like us.
do.
So I'm going to
What do you want?
ask you to stand still so
help
that I
you?
do not miss.
Bye.
And now that he is charmed,
Hello, friend. What can I do for you?
he greets us with a smile and should be
I
much
don't know
more
what to
open to
say.
share with us his
All I want is
secrets.
for her to care about me, to feel the same way as I do about her. But she doesn't. I try, and it just doesn't matter. It makes me furious sometimes.
So you stole something from her.
All right, I admit it. I took it from her. I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. I was trying to tell her how I feel, again, and she wouldn't even stop to talk to me. I just got so angry. I was a little ashamed afterwards, but I didn't know how to apologize or give it back. I wish I could.
Love makes you
I'm
do
afraid
crazy
I don't
things,
have
I'm
it
afraid.
anymore, you see. I sold it to a friend of mine, Saurus Aranum.
And
He
where
lives
can
in
I
the
find
Talos
this
Plaza
Saurus?
district of the Imperial City. He's the one who has Ardaline's staff now.
What another wild fetch quest we're going on.
What is it?
Does that mean we're heading straight back to the Imperial City?
Any
Immediately.
luck talking
And so
with
soon?
Baron Vamori yet? It should be no trouble at all once you use that scroll. Baron Vamori.
I forget what topic we're supposed to discuss
He
here.
sold it, huh? Well,
Ah,
this
Baron
just
himself.
keeps getting worse. Very well. I presume he gave you some indication of where the staff is now located. Take these and go resolve the situation. And of course, please keep this just between us.
Will do.
Get that staff back, associate.
You speak to just so many Argonians in the Mage's Guild questline. All of them so polite to you despite those raspy voices of theirs. But I'm one to talk about rasp.
How are
That loading screen tip was another thing. You can repair items past their usual maximum condition so long as your skill in armor is at 75 or above. You can't do that with a fortify spell.
Good day, stranger. Saurus Aranum is my name. Yes, I have the staff Baron sold me. I'm afraid I'm not willing to part with it. I paid good money for it after all. You understand, of course. Go ahead.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Oh, that's you don't be silly.
So
I'm not
please,
buying
keep
that.
laughing to me with that silly elf
You're-
voice.
Oh, that's great. That's really too much. You win
I love
this
it.
one. That's a bit I won't fight you. That's not bad. As much as I like you, friend, I'm just not willing to part with that staff. It's nothing personal. You too.
Unfortunately, that still will not be enough for us.
A pleasure to speak with you.
This might be, however.
Look, I can't just give it to you. I paid good money for it after all. I'll tell you what. You give me at least a portion of what I paid for it. Say 200 gold, and I'll give you the staff. That's a good deal, right? I wouldn't offer it to anyone else, just you. So, what do you say? Are you sure? Please, go on.
83 it says. I'm going to run a little check here.
Think about that offer, friend.
Whoops. Wrong selection.
It's my pleasure. Please, go on.
It seems it's still maxed out. We can't raise it any higher.
I made you an offer. Are you prepared?
Very
I'll just
well.
take the money from you then. And here's your staff.
Hello.
I was hoping we might have had an even better option if we got him to a maxed out 100% disposition. But that doesn't seem to be available to us. Simply because we've already traveled the road between Breville and the Imperial City, I'm not going to make that long walk again. Maybe later when we have other things to be doing, but we are mostly concerned with speeding through as many of these quests as possible.
Hello there.
The important bit is that we get all of our Mages Guild recommendations. And in a timely fashion, too.
What is it, associate?
Greetings, Guildmaid.
Do you have the Mage's Staff Associate?
I most certainly do.
Ah, wonderful. I shall be most pleased to return this to its rightful owner. Thank you. You needn't tell me the details of what was involved in getting it. It's perhaps better that I know nothing about it. Your actions for the guild more than merit a
I
recommendation.
would certainly
I
like
shall
to be
send it
refunded the
the
200
University
gold I
Congress.
spent on it.
And to thank you more
That doesn't teach me
personally,
anything
I
about
shall teach
illusion.
you this spell. You may find it useful in certain circumstances.
It's a charm spell, I believe. Yes.
How are you today?
Fantastic. Thanks for Arieri, your friendly guild alchemist. Satisfaction guaranteed. No free samples.
That's certainly an interesting high elf name. Arieri.
Farewell.
If I remember,
Delphine
this girl
Gem.
doesn't sell us any sort of illusion
Let's do
spells.
business.
Or she does. Most of these are just powerful destruction spells instead. Moonlight. That's better than the spell that we start with, isn't it? Light 20 feet for 20 or for
Delphine
60
Gem.
seconds.
I offer the finest goods.
Does
and
anyone
lowest
have
prices in
Night
all
Eye in here?
Cyrodiil.
There was one, but do we have any better, longer-lasting alternatives? I don't want to have to recast it every 15 seconds.
Carandial. Mage. Goodbye.
I don't care for your long, drawn-out introductions. Do these people even have houses outside the guild? I certainly wouldn't mind staying in a guild hall all day. They have beds. No one else seems to be upstairs, so we might have to settle with a measly
Hello,
15-second night eye spell.
Well met. It's always a pleasure to hear Oravasa Othrella speak at chapel.
I'm Ardeline. I'm the guild's advanced trainer.
There's two alchemists in here.
She has a talent for speaking. Plus,
What do you want?
Curious.
well met, guildmate.
Have you? Good day.
Very
Only
well.
quality goods for sale here.
I will
What
take
can I
your
interest you in?
measly night eye spell.
Thank you.
Now, I am about to warn you. This is not the most pleasant spell to look at. I will probably install a quality of life mod between now and our next stream, but what Night Eye does in this game is turn your screen a very bright blue. I will warn you, this might hurt your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Not nearly as bad on PC, but that was particularly egregious when I'd be playing this game at night back when I was a child. This will not alert anyone to our presence while we are sneaking around, as opposed to a light spell which explicitly makes it much more difficult for you to sneak. Please, do let me know in the chat if that inconveniences any of you. I'd prefer my experience to be watchable. I will be using that spell a lot when we go sneaking around. I'll take that. And I'll take that. Most importantly, this is why we are here. Ayleid Wells will give you a pretty significant Fortify Magicka effect, so our spellcasting will be better for a while. While we're at it, put back on our armor. We're no longer quite so concerned about our spell effectiveness. From here, we will make our way south to Leyawen. You're supposed to learn spells of every single school in every guild hall except for the one that has no specialization, but... do you even learn a mysticism spell for this one? Leyawen is the city that focuses most on mysticism for its magic school. But I don't recall needing any mysticism to complete its quests. Mostly just someone talking about a mysterious, spooky future. Which I assume would be mysticism of a sort if you're seeing the future, but there's no need to use any spells for that questline. I completely agree with their decision in Skyrim to get rid of that last magic school and distribute it to the other classes. It never did anything particularly unique. It's hard to define mysticism as a school unto itself. Destruction, alteration, every school except alteration is extremely easy to define. Illusion will deal with magic that deals with the mind. Destruction is obviously elemental magic. Restoration will heal, but it does have some sort of more oddly defined effects, such as purging the undead or fortifying your skills. Some attributes I can understand being associated with healing magic, such as boosting your strength or your endurance, but a spell that makes you smarter? How is that healing? Maybe it is in the metaphysical sense. But I'm not here to debate philosophy with wolves. Following that, conjuration dealing with binding Daedra and summoning skeletons sort of seems to make sense. Alteration is where it gets bizarre. That supposedly deals with just magic that alters the state of reality, so just about everything that you associated with mysticism could probably belong in that school. I told you we were going to be needing those lightning bolts. Look at how powerful they are. Enemies we encounter might only have 20 points of health or so. How much damage does that spell do? 10. So, we're off to a wonderful start. There are speedruns of this game where you try to go through at level 1 and never actually level up. I suppose that would be much more possible if you, say, made all of your major skills magic and then never actually used magic. Just the 6 schools of magic plus alchemy and then never do any of those things and you'll technically never level up. Given the game's level scaling, this means you will never find any particularly powerful equipment, but you will be able to boost your other skills to where they'd be very powerful to use. After all, if you have only a steel weapon with 100 points in that skill, you're still going to be destroying everything else that's level 1 around you. The unleveled encounters you find in this game are few and far between. It's getting late. That's marginally easier to see. That may eventually give me a headache, however. For now, while we're outside at least, and not looking to sneak, I think it would be okay to just use a light spell. That barely reaches in front of me. Torch time it is. The bizarre mix of red and green light here. Slowly making our way. We're about a third of the way there. I think I will avoid stopping into the shop here. Hello there and welcome to the stream. We are currently making our way towards Leowin. We just started our playthrough. Our current focus is to complete all of our guild recommendations for the Mages Guild. This game always looks so beautiful. Do you understand how mundane that would be in this universe? Taking a travel down the road and zapping every crab you find with a lightning bolt. And that would be considered normal by Elder Scrolls standards. Or cold. That will do just as well. The fog is a little unpleasant. Makes this game a bit less beautiful. It probably would have been much better for us to make a pass through Anvil first, so that we could start on the Knights of the Nine questline. That one I have no particular aversion to doing early. That is sort of more of a mid-game questline. But it does provide you with some exceptionally useful items. In order to begin that questline, you need to make a pilgrimage to one of every type of waste shrine that's in the game. So, one for each of the 9 divines. There's more than one of each, but they are in roughly different locations. We've already passed by, say, 5 of them. Getting those out of the way the first time would have been much easier on us. But given that we are saving that for later, I think it would be nice for us to focus on something else instead. We're not trying to do some absurdly optimized min-max playthrough here. I do recognize this farmstead, which means we should be very close to the town. The billboard effect is particularly odd with the trees that you find somewhat south here in Leowin, especially given that they are dangling downward, allegedly. What are these? Analogous to a weeping willow or something like that, I believe? The fact that they're supposed to be drooping down and will still continue facing you if you look up at them means they'd be drooping horizontally. It's less horribly noticeable with trees like this. Even in spite of such a glaringly obvious special effect, it's always looked beautiful in this game. I can't remember what's on this island. Apparently there's crabs around, so we'll deal with that really quickly. Give him the good old joy buzzer. That would be interesting, giving somewhat comedic and aloof names to all of my spells. Joy buzzer would definitely be an electric touch spell. Shake someone's hand and zap them. I thought there'd be something of interest on this island, but it looks like there's very little going on. I did see a chest in here, though. With, again, nothing particularly useful. The bread we can use for alchemy, and that's about it. Huh. Does that get rid of a torch? Just stepping into the water? No, it just unequips it. That's a curious detail. I seldomly ever use torches, so I didn't even notice that. Ooh. That would be the first non-giant Nirnroot that we have found. I can't remember exactly how many of those there are, but they are part of a very annoying and long drawn-out questline. Just something for you to collect. I don't think I ever did much of the follow-up quest in Skyrim either. Curious that allegedly they grow in such rare places. You do find someone in Skyrim who says they're the only person alive who knows how to grow them. They actually have a farm.
I'm your relief. It's about time.
Huh. I've never seen that interaction before. That was cute. Something Bethesda has always done well is put a decent amount of world building into their games. Even if they have some issues with writing or game design, their world design has always been excellent. I love Leowin's architecture as well. Very tall and expensive, beautiful houses.
Well met, guildmate.
What's your problem, Mr. Forehead?
Greetings, guildmate.
Well, it does recommend me to talk to an alchemist, so I will try to look for one in here. Like this guy.
Excuse me, perhaps you're an adventurer? Could you assist me in acquiring something for my crystal collection?
Do tell me.
Straight to the point, eh? Good, I like that.
I didn't have any other
I'm searching
options.
for some specific crystals known as Garidan's Tears. If you can locate these objects for me, I'd pay handsomely for each one.
Alright, sounds like we might have another quest on our
I had a good
hands.
feeling about you from the moment that I saw you.
Hello there and welcome to
I
the
want you to
stream.
bring me as many of Garidan's tears as you can find. If you do, I will pay you a fair bounty in gold for each one.
If I remember, this quest actually sends you up
I
north.
have a weakness for crystals of a magical nature, and I must add these to my collection.
I think you mean
This
my
is a
collection.
personal errand, you must understand, just between you and I. The Mages Guild has nothing to do with it.
I certainly appreciate a bit of business on the down low. Tell me about these nerd roots.
Amazing. I've never seen a root quite like that before. If you wish to find out a bit more about it, I know just the person you need to speak to.
Hopefully you.
Seek out Sindarian, a resident alchemist of Skingrad.
Drat.
Strange plants are his specialty.
Seems we did not optimize our route very well. We've already been to Skingrad, and that would have been another quest for us to handle while we were there. But you know what I said. We need lightning bolts.
Well met, guildmate.
Where exactly would the head of this guild be? It's late at night, she might be upstairs.
You seek wisdom from me, child? Ah, no, you seek words. Words are difficult. They come and go. The voices, though, so loud they are, they drown out the words.
I hear voices
Without my
sometimes too.
amulet,
You're not
my
alone.
stone to lock the voices away, the words will never come and stay. Would you lift your hands to help another? To help me find the words?
Very well.
Then seek Agatha, child. She will see the path and set you on it. I must rest.
She's always spoken very
Farewell.
strangely. Makes me remember this quest quite well.
Hello, guildmate.
How are you today?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Yes?
Allow me to interrupt your conversation for something much more important.
I'm surprised she discussed it with you. She wanted to keep it from the others. I should speak to her about that. Yes, her seer's stone is missing. It's the one thing that has kept her visions at bay. And without it, they're nearly crippling. She can't function. We haven't yet spoken to the others, for fear they would be less than accepting of her situation. Perhaps it is time, though. I will continue to tend to DeGale. Can you speak with the other mages and find out if any of them had seen the stone?
I will make my discussions with everyone.
What do you want?
Starting with Mr. Rude Forehead
What
Boy
do you
here.
want?
And I'm not talking about myself.
Well, well. Word is finally spreading, is it? They won't be able to keep up this facade much longer. Yeah, I know all about it. I overheard Agatha and DeGale talking. And you know what? I'm glad it's gone. Why should we be forced to work under someone who's only kept sane by a magical trinket? Haven't we sacrificed enough already? She shouldn't even be here anymore. Hell, the only reason her father ever fit in anywhere is because he kept a low profile. And look what it got him. Years of service to the Empire, and not even a tombstone over his head. Humph. At least he was able to maintain the illusion of sanity.
What an
I
upsetting
know.
story.
I get way too fired up over this. It just annoys me that she's in charge of the guild when she's clearly not fit, that's all.
Would you like to guess who's the villain of this arc?
You'll see, things will change.
It's definitely not the rude guy with all the shadows around his eyes. Boy, it looks like he stays up too late playing video games. It tells you to speak to Agatha next in the journal, but it doesn't give a quest marker over her head. Here, while you two are still gossiping in earshot,
Yes? Is there something I can help you with, associate?
let's talk about your associate.
So Calthar overheard us, did he? That explains why he's been so cranky lately.
Well, of course, he was
But
right
we
there.
never said anything about DeGale's father. How would he know anything about that? If there's some sort of
That's the
connection
kicker.
between the Seer's Stone and DeGale's father, I don't know about it. Maybe if you ask her, it will jog her memory. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye on Calthar.
A good note.
Be seeing you.
I'll be watching you, video game boy.
Greetings, guildmate.
Good to see you. Good Eye runs a tight ship and...
I'll be watching you a lot. Now that you're calmly falling asleep, I need to talk to you.
You seek more from me, child?
NPCs are just so bizarre in this
It
game.
is as I have seen. I know what you would ask. You would bring light to that which is in darkness, bring silence to the voices so loud. I know where you must go. Blood ran blue and dragons flew high. Under broken towers and
There's
broken
not very many
walls,
mentions of dragons in the Elder Scrolls games before Skyrim.
What was my sire's must be mine.
I'm curious
You
that
would
they
have the
choose to
words
mention it
receive.
here.
You must go and find his stone.
And from that, we apparently decipher the location of the fort that we need to go to. She doesn't explicitly tell you where to go. She does mention that blood ran blue, but that would be particularly cryptic for someone not familiar with the area. A lot of other quests, or say in this one you'd talk to a Gata, but it tells you exactly where to go regardless. We're able to carry a little bit of junk back with us. We haven't made any important stops by any shops in the meantime, but we'll find some things to sell. A lot of the things you would find on bandits would not be able to be sold for much of a profit. Not in spite of the weight that they weigh you down with. That is a castle door because it is far less elaborate than the one that you used to get out of the town. That's another interesting idea. I know there's mods that will bring these towns into the world space itself so that you don't get loading screens going in and out. They would function a lot more like Morrowind's towns, for example. Although Mournhold still had its fair share of loading screens. What do redwort flowers do for me? I'm not too familiar with them. Resist frost is not going to be very useful for us. If I remember correctly, bog beacons are very important later because they both restore and fortify your magicka, giving you more room to spellcast. We'll just be making our way straight there. And redirect our active quest to help us guide ourselves along the way. They still provide you with so many trees no matter where you go. Different trees dotting different parts of the landscape. I do appreciate how diverse they made the environments in this game. Ah, was it that short of a trip already? Seems we're already here. I was expecting that travel to be much longer. Ah, we're not able to sneak up on anyone. How remarkably disappointing. We'll see if anyone's carrying some stuff for us to use. Including this person right here. Let's go ahead and test that Night Eye spell. Doesn't help us see too much. Ah, darn. And we've actually run out of magic to use. They don't quite explain how you're supposed to get up here, so I have always just jumped off at this ramp. Ah, you still hit me. Disappointing. There was a chest I just saw over here. Where is it? There we go. And nothing interesting was found. I suppose we could take those little bits of cutlery, but they don't weigh much compared to what they're worth. Now we will begin our quest to sneak up on every bandit in the fort. And land that cheeky two-handed sword attack. Please continue standing still, please continue standing still, don't turn around. And myoink. Only 1 times damage, apparently. We will be sticking with the short swords then, I'm afraid. That will do much better for backstabbing. Do keep an eye out for any chests. Or should I say... a night eye out. Since we have 2 characters talking to each other, they're probably facing each other. And there's not particularly a good angle to sneak up on them. Step on that trap, get the maces to fall. And here we have another stray bandit. Now that you're staring into the wall, we will resume our sneaking activities. We are getting a very decent number of sneak level ups here. Come on, come on. And nyoink. Simple and quick. And very easy on us. Now that they're done talking to each other, they might have retired to different parts of this room. Or we'll just still have to fight them anyway.
This ends here.
Astonishing how quickly that magic finishes them off. The other guy hasn't noticed us yet, though, so... let's hope our skelly boy doesn't interrupt... or we'll interrupt ourselves. Iron Claymore... Iron Shield... And here, I believe there's actually 2 people in this room. But you can't see some of them from where you first enter. Given that voice, that should have been... there's the other one. Really? You didn't just see me murder your friend... he was turned around. You didn't hear me loudly electrocute the friend you were facing away from. He's just standing there. Becomes much easier to sneak while they're facing away. And hopefully, this will give us just enough room. Can I get a nyoink? Look, it was a mercy kill. It happened too quickly for them to notice. What a very peaceful and relaxing way to go. A single stab will obviously be the kindest way to kill someone. Wouldn't you agree? Let's go ahead and put that hammer to good use. While we have a moment of reprieve. And our moment is over. Yes, the wind. 2 levels below in this fort. That is definitely the wind blowing through here and making noise. there's some times in which it turns into a waiting game. He's going to notice me if I start moving at this point, so our best bet is hoping for him to turn around. Though I'm astonished he hasn't seen me at this point. With the few torches we have around the room, I should be somewhat illuminated. At least just a little bit. Yoink. And that wasn't enough. But that was. And he didn't even scream for his buddies. How saddening. Now, if we step into the center of this room, we will be illuminated immediately. So, we will try to sneak around from the side and hope that no one notices us. Like that Argonian, who's currently staring straight at us. There we go. Can I get a third person one? It seems we might be falling behind the curve at this point. At least against anyone wearing heavy armor. Not doing quite enough damage to destroy them in one swing. A battered crate. No, this one didn't have skooma. And that one didn't have anything useful. Most barrels you find won't contain something useful. We're getting much deeper into the fort now. Luckily, in most of our combat, we are still holding up quite well. We are about to level up, which will put us a bit further behind the curve once again, but... why didn't they fix the leveling in this game? This gentleman has still not yet noticed us. Definitely. There's definitely not a red-haired dark elf sneaking up behind you at this very moment. Though I would recommend you still stop drinking. And it's still not enough. I don't think we'll be getting too many sneak attacks after this point. And they're still apparently, unaware of my presence. Very well. We'll take every little thing we can get. While they're facing away, sneak up behind the furthest back one. Avoid the staring contest. I'm probably going to get noticed coming up behind this one, but we'll make do of them swiftly enough regardless. That guy is actually the boss of here, so I'm going to need some assistance. That one was easy. This guy will be a bit more difficult. This is where our poisons would come in useful. Come in handy. I guess that would be the more proper terminology. And the interesting thing is that poison damage will stack. From here, we might just be able to outrun him, being in light armor and all. Using a clever combination of wits, we have still managed to beat him. We have some small health potions we could start using. 0 condition on the fur boots. So soon. So easily. Wonder what caused that. Would a single sneak attack actually destroy someone's boots so quickly? Now, if that was the boss of the fort, what exactly would come after the boss? Come here. Apparently just a couple of imps. But on higher difficulties, you actually can find ogres down here. Or other bizarre, difficult creatures to deal with. I think the chests down here actually have a surprisingly good amount of loot, so we're going to pick every lock we can find. I found plenty of expensive and useful enchanted items down here. I've also never gone to this fort before doing this quest, so I don't even know if this room is unlocked unless you're doing the Mage's Guild. That was unfortunately nothing useful, but I know there's a few down here. Coffins contain nothing of use for us. Please let there be good promises behind this lock. Ah, that was the one. Come on, come on. We will not lose our patience here. I never lose patience. I could be here for hours if it meant getting into this chest. Deliver to me your contents, please. Just excuse me for a second, I'm going to have to be very quiet and concentrate here. There we go, that's a good one. Ah, it's so difficult. Your eyes start crossing after a while if you stare at it for too long. Not to mention I'm currently fighting off a yawn, so I'd like not to have that disrupt me. Just like that. If you worry too much, you just get worse at it. And there we go. Unfortunately, finding nothing good there. Well, hello.
Look, just stop right there, all right?
Didn't expect to see you down here.
With that amulet. I need it right now. I took the other one, and that should have been enough. I shouldn't have to go through all this just to get rid of her. It's not even as if I was going to keep it forever. I was going to give it back to her once I'd gotten what I wanted. That's not so wrong, is it?
I suppose not.
Once she helped me advance out of that place and step down, then she could have it back. Why did you have to get in the way? Why are you trying to ruin everything?
Because I want to go to college. Excuse you, mister. How bizarre that he attacks us. Is this really something to kill someone over? School politics? I wouldn't think that's worth the price of murder. But they need to have some sort of a boss fight, I suppose. See, that quest is done. Exactly what mysticism did we accomplish while we were here? Maybe if you were supposed to be stealthier and they gave you a detect life spell, that would be the only idea I would have. But hey, it was easy. Make our little save there, and I don't think we'll be finding anything too important on the way back. Let's just go ahead and make our little quick travel trip here. Doink. Every single time. And again. Aww. We're not tall enough. You know boys always gotta hit the archway of the door on the way out. Doink.
Greetings, child. Nothing has changed, child. The voices still cry out, and I am unable to hear. If they can be sealed away, our work may begin.
If you can't hear, shouldn't the voices not be a problem?
Found it, have you? Silenced the hands that betrayed and took what was mine? Then let me have the stones.
The
so
hands
the
that
voices can
betrayed.
be shut out.
I suppose it's not difficult to piece it together, but she seems to immediately say that, hey,
Thank
yeah,
you for helping
there's
me.
someone who's trying to stab us in the back.
voice is quieted for now. The words you seek have come to me. You shall have my recommendation. Though I must warn you, I've seen things in your future. Things which may be, and things which will be.
Do I win the
It will
lottery?
be up to you to decide the fate of many. Life and death are strange things, easily manipulated, and both will be altered by your hands.
Well, that's kind of the goal here. After all, I'm looking for as much power I can acquire.
Be seeing you.
There's our kitty boy
Hello,
again.
journeyman.
Hello.
Oh, there's
To the
two
high
kitty
road
boys
that
here.
tight shipping.
Savi, Count's mage and castle healer, your servant.
I don't remember seeing her very often in here.
Not a chance. Nice to meet you. Only quality goods for sale here. What can I interest you in?
I don't think they have any particularly useful spells for us. Mysticism is a very
May all
meager school of spells compared to the others. Very well, so that is 3 of our recommendation quests completed. We're on our way up the ranks. And soon enough, we should be able to get into college.
How are you?
For sale. This looks like a bit too run down of a shack for me to accept, though. There's a house for sale in every town. I know the one that you get in the Imperial City is, unfortunately, just a little shack on the waterfront. Not very pleasant to look at. A pimped out shack, I might call it. That's all that it will ever be.
Hello.
Half the buildings in Leowin are quite grandiose, but you saw there were plenty of the shacks there that were unremarkable. Pick up every Nern root we find. I think for the quests that you have to do related to them, you have to pick up a certain number. I remember it was a very obnoxious number, at the least. Alright, from here, we will actually be making our way across the river, and we will be heading up north to Shaden Hall. This will actually be the longest road that we will encounter without any significant landmarks along the way. So, buckle up. We are going for a stroll. Over the river and through the woods. And pick up that Nern root. Find another crab. Freeze that crab. take its parts, and be on our way. These are stinkhorn, I believe, which you can use for damaging poisons. Those will also be important to us. So, for any of the viewers in the chat, do you have any particular pleasant memories of Oblivion you'd like to share? If there were any of you that played? We will be on the road for a while, so I'd love to hear whatever stories you have to tell. Let's see. I played a Breton first, just because I had an affinity for mage characters, and they served that purpose better. I didn't like the weaknesses that a High Elf came with. Bretons were also probably the overpowered race in Oblivion because they came with an innate 50% resistance to all magic attacks. In Morrowind, that would not count towards the common destruction elements, such as fire, frost, lightning, or poison, but in Oblivion, they would count for every single spell. You could even get yourself up to a maximum of 100% magic resistance. At that point, absolutely no spell would ever hurt you. It was so much easier to reach that cap with a Breton than it was with anyone else. One of the most overpowered characters I ever actually had. I think I got most of my stats to 100. I wasn't making a 5-5-1 build with that character though, so in the end my luck never actually reached 100. I think I got strength, intelligence, willpower, and speed all to their maximums though. In the end, no matter how much you play the game though, it doesn't ever feel like you have enough to get speechcraft or mercantile maxed out. Has anyone even ever maxed out those skills on their characters? From the class, I can't remember anything that stood out when playing Oblivion, except for the first time I successfully murdered an entire town. I've never been compelled to murder so egregiously in Elder Scrolls games, and I don't know why. I would likely attribute it to a fear of missing out, perhaps. Most of the NPCs are going to be ultimately consequential, but I do know there's people who go on entire murder sprees and kill every NPC in a town. For a few scripts and pixels, it's not that bad, but I never particularly understood the desire to kill so many NPCs, no matter how inconsequential they were. Murdering an entire town has to be spooky, though. I can't imagine the ambience. So empty. Would definitely make all of the music that normally brings to mind a very pleasant fantasy world. It would all feel so very different. We are here because the large number of bog beacons is important to us. We want to be able to brew the best magica potions for ourselves. Since alchemy is not one of our major skills, leveling it up will only grant us stat boosts and not actually level me up. It started as you being upset with one NPC and then one thing led to another. I can sort of understand that. Especially with a powerful character. You murder one person, all the guards come after you, and inevitably someone else gets caught in the fray. Then with that first delicious taste of power, you wonder, how far could I take this? I think even with the more sociopathic characters I've played, I've never even saved just to destroy an entire town and see what it felt like. Perhaps we could do this on stream. Maybe it will be difficult with Oblivion, given that the world around you scales to your level, but in Skyrim, or perhaps even Morrowind, just for a laugh, at the end of one of our streams, we go on a little, slaughter spree. Just for the taste. I already recognize this guy as a highwayman, so we're not going to even talk to him. If I remember correctly, Khajiit canonically come from elsewhere, which is deserty, I believe. They talk about sands a lot, but would a cat-like physiology be good for surviving in a desert? With all that extra hair, I'd imagine they'd overheat quite easily. But every single day in and day out, they compliment you with, "May you walk on the warm sands." I have no idea what a Khajiit accent is supposed to be like. I've heard some speculation they're supposed to be somewhat analogously coded to Roma. Romanian folk. After all, they do have the unfortunate stereotype of, despite being wonderful people, being known as nomads and thieves. This is an alien ruin, so there's hopefully another well in here. We will always take any opportunity to boost our magicka that we can. I'm not seeing it or hearing it, though. It might not be here. Not every ruin has one. There's another Nern route. So we didn't make our trip for nothing. Also note I am saying Aliid, ending with a D, not alien. I've had that response when making a few discussions before. This marble architecture. Someone's angry at me, and it's not that horse. It's this wolf. Already our swords are much less effective on the flora and fauna that we're finding here. Look at that bright red. And it's gone. House cats started as a desert animal, Egypt and all that. It would be pretty appropriate if elsewhere was a desert. You know, I completely agree with your sentiments there. That's a very good point to be made. Lightning bolt. And another one. And another one. House cats in a desert environment definitely makes sense. I wonder if there's any larger cats that do well in the desert. We know the lions tend to enjoy the savannas of Africa, but that isn't quite a desert now, is it? I imagine larger cats wouldn't survive very well in a not particularly lush environment, given that they're carnivores. They need plenty of prey to feast on. Khajiit, however, they just eat a lot of sugar. That's another part of their lore. They eat a lot of sugar and put sugar in just about everything. Both regular sugar and moon sugar. There's a few jokes you find in Elder Scrolls Online where someone will tell you to avoid sampling the Khajiit food. It's far too sweet for just about everyone else's cultures. lavender. We should be about halfway up the road at this point. It's a very long trek for us to make. I would have wished they would have put a town right about here. This would have been a wonderful spot to have one extra town, although that would be very close in proximity to Breville. Just something to fill out all the extra empty space over here. It's the largest chunk of area in the game that doesn't have any towns. Between Anvil, Kvatch, and Skingrad, this place is absolutely dense over here. Even Coral and Bruma have very little distance to each other. Here we have another boy.
Stay away.
Or not. A few bandits, and then there's a highwayman. The highwaymen are always Khajiit too. It's bizarre.
Easily done.
I'm not putting up with this. We don't even need the sword, to be honest. You could focus very well on using alchemy to give yourself a lot of magic potions. From there, you could just keep casting spells. I'm proud that they balanced magic out a lot better in this game. It's still very useful into the late game. Morrowind, it shows to be a little underwhelming, especially given that you could only regenerate your magicka by resting and not naturally during combat. That's always been such an egregiously outdated mistake that I might even have a mod to change that. No matter how vanilla I'd want the Morrowind experience to be, I'd prefer having my magic regenerate slowly over time. That was one of the first things I noticed when I started playing Oblivion is, hey, I actually can use magic a lot. No, I'm afraid it isn't. There's a perk in Skyrim that lets you reduce arrow damage by holding up your shield at the correct angle, but I don't know how much it applies in Oblivion. It might count like a normal attack and suffer all the same bonuses and penalties. A little camp here, just aside from the bandits. I think there's a quest here, but we're so far out of the way that I'd prefer just to get straight to Shadenhall. So we will continue being on our way and ignore that quest for now. We will continue wandering aimlessly otherwise. Out here, beautiful open road. The skies look so lovely in Oblivion as well. Skyrim skies are equally wonderful. Those actually had plenty of auroras for you to look at, being towards the northern end of the map as well. I don't know if they're visible tonight. Elder Scrolls games actually have moon phases. It's one of the most simple things that you wouldn't think to look at. They are relevant to some quests in the story as well. One thing we will learn later on in the game is that people will make black soul gems, which themselves aren't necessarily much of a spoiler. A black soul gem, which only started existing in Oblivion, is what you can actually use on human characters. Normally, from Morrowind previously, you couldn't actually use Soul Trap on human characters. The way you make them in this game will actually require using a certain ritual and only on certain days of the week. I believe they're somewhat analogous to a solar eclipse. The nighttime equivalent of a solar eclipse. Which would still be a solar eclipse, just not so dramatic. the sun shining somewhere, you know. It's a bit less magical than that, though. It's really just every 8 days. But doing a certain ritual on those days will grant you the ability to turn Grand Soul Gems into Black Soul Gems. We're almost to Shadenhall. In fact, I'm going to skip over the little bit of the roads here and just continue north through the woods, instead of going the full direction west, then north, then further east. Who are we dealing? Ah, more wolves. Simple. This game is such a classic. A dose of so many fantasy tropes at once. I wonder just who all had Oblivion as their first game for Elder Scrolls. Ah, there they are. The moons. You can see them now that they're no longer obscured by the clouds. And in these open fields, they look beautiful. There's a goblin out front. I imagine a place called Empty Mine is not actually empty. Those lightning bolts are still the best weapon for us to use. Shouldn't be too much farther to get to Shadenhall from here. I think from here we'd be able to see the city. Ah, no. Further up in the mountains it is. Ah, those mountain lines are just beautiful. Even though Oblivion goes particularly hard on making itself as generic of a fantasy world as possible, it still nails that idea just so perfectly. I always love looking at the landscapes in this game. I also would argue it has the best musical score out of any of the Elder Scrolls games. Overall, there's a few songs you'd find on individual tracks, like who doesn't love Morrowind's Nerevar Rising? But if you were to look at every song in the game, I would definitely feel like Oblivion's soundtrack does the best. Let me know if you'd like to have an argument over the topic in the comments. And soon we will not be seeing the moon once again. Elder Scrolls, of course, does not take place on Earth itself, which is why they have 2 moons. Who's that? That's an imp, of course. Curious that they have so many different spells that they cast.
What is it, citizen?
There's one fellow you find in one of the mage's guilds who actually has an imp familiar. A shame that you never get the opportunity to conjure one yourself. We also seldomly hear any sort of mention of similar fantasy creatures that you do in Oblivion compared to Morrowind and Skyrim. In this game you have plenty of ogres and minotaurs, but they don't make a showing up in Skyrim. Or Morrowind. Both of those games tend to include sort of their own lore for the creatures that you find. All of them have mud crabs, though. Crabs are universal. They're also one of nature's most perfect creatures. Lots of similar arthropods, even if they're, say, spiders or scorpions, tend to evolve into more crab-like shapes. Something about the form of the crab itself just makes it so evolutionarily perfect. Ah, there it is. We are finally approaching Shadenhall. This is actually the town where you can buy the most quick horses in the game, but there's a reason we're not too concerned with getting horses ourselves. Quick stop to the Mages Guild. The one guard without a helmet was important for a quest, if I remember correctly.
Hello.
What a pleasant greeting from an orc. Orcs normally are very impolite with you. And here we are, exactly where we need to be. Though it is late and everyone has already found a bed for themselves, we'll make use of this one. I don't think you get any resting bonuses in this game, which is a shame. Now, what are we with? Let's raise up that luck. Endurance, and we'll just take whatever our highest bonus is that we can get. Another thing about the leveling in this game is that the health that you get from leveling up is determined by endurance, so min-max builds will actually level up endurance as quickly as possible.
Greetings. I'm Islandwy. I'm only a conjurer, but Orantur is a full magician. Isn't he wonderful?
Your face looks like it's covered in dust, and I know you're not the person I need to talk to.
I'm Ditsan, magician, Mages Guild, that is.
I did say we were going to be talking to a lot of
I'm afraid
Argonians.
You'll have to speak to Falkar about that.
Ah, right. She's not the one we talked to.
Take care.
I just remember her a lot. Falkar, there he is.
What is it, associate? Don't tell me you're here for a recommendation.
Everyone is their own brand of rude.
Don't waste my time if you're not ready for this. Are you prepared to do what is necessary to gain a recommendation from me?
Of course.
Very well. We shall see how prepared you actually are. There was a particular ring of burden I was testing some time ago. Another stupid associate somehow got his hands on it and managed to misplace it.
Well, you're just a bowl of
If I
sunshine,
didn't
aren't
know
you?
better, I'd say he purposely tossed it down the well behind the guild hall. Why he would do such a thing is beyond me. You will retrieve this ring for me. Should you manage to do so, I shall consider sending a recommendation to the university.
He says
The
consider.
well is locked, so you'll need
So
the key.
allegedly,
Dietzen should have a copy of it. Now get moving.
he'd even have the
Find someone else
option to
won't
just
you?
decline sending a recommendation for you.
I find it surprising.
I'd actually like to know about that ring.
It's not a normal ring, you see. You may find it slightly difficult to carry. Don't say I didn't warn you. Find someone else to bother, won't you?
Well, gee, excuse you.
Well met. We can talk, so long as Falkar is out of earshot. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he's trying to get you killed.
He's just down the hall over
He
there.
gave poor Vidkun the same task, and we never saw him again. I'm reasonably sure there's a connection, but I can't prove it. Do be careful. I'd hate to lose another useful associate. Here's the key, and something extra. I don't know if it will be of use to you, but from what I've heard of Falkar's ring, it may come in handy. And if you find out anything about what happened to Vidkun, let me know, will you?
So something's going on. Something's going on with this ring that we're having to pick up. Maybe it's very special, very powerful, very magical. Let's see what we got here. A water breathing spell, which we can't even cast. That ring weighs 150 pounds. See, there's the trap. It's so heavy because it's called a ring of burden. It's just enchanted to be super heavy. Let me out, let me out, let me out. Just in time. We couldn't even cast the water breathing spell we would have so desperately needed in there. What'd you have to say, Deet-san?
Good day. He was an associate, just like yourself. It
No, I'm talking about the recommendation.
just perform the task you've been given. We'll be careful, associate.
Oh, I'm supposed to actually walk back in there with the ring, I believe. Let's go ahead and sell a few of our things first, then. Because I definitely can't just walk straight out of there with it. It's far too heavy for me. General store should let us get rid of most of the junk on our person.
Borba Grauzgash. We've got everything the adventurer needs. I'm an old adventurer myself, and I know what's wanted.
Her hair is sticking
Have a
out
look at my
astonishingly
wares.
far.
I'm sure there's something to suit you.
We already know we don't have much more use of the claymore. Disposition 22.
That's more than I would usually...
I don't think I'm going to be playing that little wheel game for the moment. Here, get rid of this, since I'm not currently using it. I don't think there's anything else particularly heavy we could be getting rid
A
of.
good price? That's a good... Leave me alone.
Alright, fine. Yikes. Well, she was certainly unpleasant. I suppose that would have changed if I actually did the little persuasion minigame there. So for the moment, since we need to walk out of there with 150 pounds worth of ring, I'm going to just drop all of our heaviest items right here. Although we need to be below a weight of 70, I believe. I'm not sure that's possible. Do we have any feather effects on these ingredients? Nothing to let us carry more stuff, it seems. I'm not going to just drop all these ingredients around here either. Ah, right, that was the trick. You can drop it, then... Ah.
Ow!
Come on. You can't even look at the bars of that ladder and get out of there like that. Alright. What's my grab key? Q. Alright. That's a very odd key for it to be bound to. Now we have to look for that cursed ring again. This is going to be so much of a problem since we can't actually cast the water breathing spell on ourselves. There it is. Now, you can still pass across ladders and things like that while you're over encumbered. But since we received that quest update, we're not going to try to take that with us. But you can still pick it up like this, as an item floating in front of you. So, we'll just walk with the rest of our inventory and take up this fancy little ring of burden. Step through the door. Drop it once again. I'll put it on this nice little table.
I was worried.
Well, of course I'm alive. I'm invincible.
Afraid some things have happened while you've been gone, Associate. It may affect your recommendation.
Oh boy.
I'll admit it's my doing. I couldn't leave well enough alone, and after you'd left to go after that ring, well... I'm just so tired of the way we've all been treated by Falkar. I was worried about you and angry about Vidkun, so I confronted Falkar directly. He was furious when I told him I'd helped you, and then when I threatened to report him to the Council of Mages, I thought he was going to kill me.
Oh dear.
He flew into a rage. I didn't even understand some of his ranting, but he said that our days are numbered, and then he stormed out. I don't know if he ever wrote your recommendation. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this to happen. Perhaps you should go look and see if he did write one. You should check his room in the living quarters. If you see the note or anything else unusual, let me know. I'll gladly send it to the council.
I think you might be giving him too much credit.
Bye.
He was so exceptionally rude to me. I think it's in here. This looks like an official, important office. You remember what I was saying about black soul gems? Those are used by necromancers, and necromancy is currently banned in the province of Cyrodiil.
Associate. What's this? Black soul gems? Oh dear, this is worse than I'd expected. All right, I'll just take these from you. I'll need them for my report to the council. Now, you didn't find any sort of recommendation? Very well. I shall write one myself and include it in my report to the council. In light of the circumstances, I believe they'll find it more than adequate.
I would certainly hope so.
Farewell.
So she still turns out to be the very important Argonian for us to be talking to here. We got a little bit of suspense on our hands. Although, I suppose you'd see it coming. The very obviously evil characters we've dealt with today, both of them were turning out to be the villains. They weren't necessarily trying to pull any plot twists or surprises on you. That leaves us with Bruma, Coral, and Anvil as our other Mages Guild recommendations we still need to complete. So, I think we'll save that for another time. There's Oblivion so far. It's definitely nostalgic going back through it when I was first playing the game 15 years ago. Kind of doing the same thing too, just being a mage and focusing on my magical skills. Trying to get into college. Classic. I'm thinking about playing Strive tomorrow and maybe on Friday. Oblivion might be reserved for Thursday just for a more relaxed experience. I'm having fun with both of these games, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot more stuff on this channel. Let me know if there's any other specific games you'd like to see, and please do spread the good word every opportunity you can. Until next time, good night.